What is prime focus? Well, in this context, prime focus is a term commonly used to describe the technique of connecting an SLR camera directly to a telescope or a microscope without any lens except for the scope's objective. The objective lens is the single lens at the end of a telescope or its primary mirror. A microscope's objective is the lens closest to the specimen. This technique allows you to photograph both the very large and the very small with minimal complexity. Using special adapters with an SLR camera, the scope's eyepiece is removed and the camera is directly attached to the eyepiece housing. The image captured by the scope's objective lens is focused directly onto the camera's sensor. There is no control for aperture, so the only way to control the exposure is by adjusting the ISO and the shutter time. This is easy as done by setting the camera in manual. A camera with live view also makes this task a lot easier. Astronomical images have only a single focus plane, as all objects we see in the night sky are infinitely far away. So once focused on one object, all other stars and planets are also in focus. Multiple exposures are taken with relatively short exposures, 30 seconds or so, and then merged using Photoshop or similar software, with each layer adding to the light capture. Microscope images, on the other hand, have a very narrow depth of field. So multiple images are taken with a gradual change of the focus. These individual images are then stacked together using a focus stack software application such as Photoshop, Helicon Focus, or Combine ZP. If you have a DSLR camera, you will need a special adapter called the T-mount. This takes the place of the camera lens. There are various eyepiece adapters available that will fit the eyepiece housing for a particular type of scope you are using, and these screw into the T-mount. I use a 1 1/4 inch adapter for my telescope and a 23mm for my microscope. Of course, for less magnification, you can always use a macro lens or simply add a diopter lens to the front of your lens for close focusing. Grandfather, Pompeo Lunardini, purchased this Waltham pocket watch around the time my mother was born in 1917. We were curious if we could get clear images of the clockworks using some degree of magnification. To accomplish this, we set up 3 experiments, each requiring about 50 exposures to capture the relatively deep set of gears. We used a combination of Helicon Focus and Photoshop with Topaz Adjust. We ended up using a macro lens approach, then the low power scope in our clubroom, and finally our home microscope at higher power. On April 15th of this year, a full lunar eclipse took place over North America. We used our 8-inch Newtonian telescope mounted on a German EQ mount with a tracking motor. When attached to our Canon T4i, the equivalent telephoto length is about 1970 millimeters.